Joseph Smith, the man that restored the Gospels because they were lost, even though there's nothing that they actually base it off of. Um, he restored the gospel, and apparently, and here's some of the things he had to say. For the prophet that restored the gospel and saved everybody, basically, or I don't even know. Mormon doctrine is weird, but here is here's one of his prophecies. Here's one of his yeah. Let's see. He got something like this wrong. So yeah. So there's some rules for prophecy. There's a lot of prophecies in the Bible that prove the Bible itself. A lot of stuff like that. Maybe for another video for another time. Um, and it's also a good way to prove whether or not someone isn't right. I'll get to that at the end. Um, in order for a prophecy to have failed, there was some ground rules that are set up. These were given to me by the Mormons themselves, and they most of them, there's one I don't like, but other than that, I think they're legitimate. One of them is a prophecy has to be from God, not an opinion. They're like, there's stuff Joseph Smith said was his opinion, so that's not a prophecy. That's fair, you know. Um, has to have a time limit. Has to have a time where past this it's failed, and you can't do anything about it. Like it had to have happened in that time, otherwise it was failed. It can't be like in the Bible with Revelation, where it lasts, it's until the end, and there's, it's open ended. It can't be like that. So there's those two rules, and there's the last one: can't fail because of man. So it can't, if it fails because men did something wrong, not because of God. Now, that doesn't make any actual sense, because if God says something is going to happen, it's going to happen. Now, he might say, if you obey me or something like that, then if that's the case, that's different. But if he says something's going to happen, it's going to happen. So you can't really do that. And that also means a failed prophecy doesn't even exist. So that, does that really work? A failed prophecy not even being a real thing? I don't think so. That's definitely not in the Bible. So let me actually pull up that scripture real quick. Mormons like the King James too. Deuteronomy 18:20. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. So, when the Mormon church and any of these groups say, we had a future revelation, or so and so, made a mistake. No, it says put them to death. Do not be afraid of them. You can't change what you have. If during that time, if you spoke in the name of another god, or you spoke something that it didn't happen, then you were put to death. You weren't supposed to, you're not supposed to be afraid of them. So So how does that work? How does someone get a revelation from God and then it gets mixed up? And if they're put to death and you're not supposed to be afraid of them, then why should I care what Joseph Smith had to say, assuming his prophecy failed? So let's take a look at this real quick. I'm going to be generous. I'm going to hear him out. I have already. Just by the way, spoiler alert. But you guys can hear him out anyways. A revelation of Jesus Christ unto his servant Joseph Smith. This is, by the way, Doctrine and Covenants, section 84, verse 1. So it's a revelation of Jesus Christ unto his servant Joseph Smith. So first rule, a prophecy has to be from God, not opinion. Right there, it's from God. So if this fails, it fails. Joseph Smith Jr., excuse me. And 6 elders as they united their hearts and lifted their voices on high. Revelation from God, supposedly. Yea, the word of the Lord concerning his church, established in the last days for the restoration of his people, as he has spoken by the mouth of his prophets, and for the gathering of his saints to stand upon Mount Zion, which shall be the city of New Jerusalem. So heaven on earth is going to happen here. Just keep that in mind. Which city shall be built, beginning at the temple lot, which is appointed by the finger of the Lord in the western boundary of the state of Missouri, and dedicated by the hand of Joseph Smith Jr. and others with whom the Lord was well pleased. So, Joseph Smith building the temple in the western boundaries of Missouri. Now that hasn't happened yet. When you're looking at this, apparently New Jerusalem being built. No, that hasn't happened. New Jerusalem, the saints and the prophets all gathering, and Mount Zion, New Jerusalem, like in the Bible. No. So, but is it future? Verily, this is the word of the Lord, that the city New Jerusalem shall be built by the gathering of the saints, beginning at this place, even the place of the temple, which temple shall be reared in this generation. This generation. For verily, verse 5, this generation shall not all pass away until a house shall be built unto the Lord, and a cloud shall rest upon it, which cloud shall be even the glory of the Lord, which shall fill the house. And the sons of Moses, according to the holy priesthood, which he received under the hand of his father-in-law Jethro. And Jethro received it under the... Let me see, how far does this go? Genealogy... whatever else. Got what we need. So I'm not exactly a historian, but I'm not really aware of a time when the temple... First off, let me just Google something. Zion is the name of a physical city founded by the prophet Enoch, also known as the City of Enoch. Zion refers to the New Jerusalem, a physical millennial city expected to be located in Independence, Jackson County, Missouri. Zion is the central physical location to which Latter-day Saints have gathered. So apparently, they've kind of got that. But did a cloud come down? Did everyone come down? Did they all... look at that. Doctrine and Covenants, section 84. This is on the Latter-day Saints website. Look at that. Just take a look at that if you haven't. You have this generation. This generation will not pass away. During that time, be built New Jerusalem, and Moses will come down and whatever else. The priesthood of Moses. And is even any of this right? The sons of Moses and his priesthood receive the priesthood. There's no evidence for that. I wonder, like how they figure that exactly, or what they do. I don't know. So in this generation, so let's put this in perspective. Joseph Smith, if he gave this prophecy in the time of Moses, they would put him to death, and no one would be afraid of him. Put him to death, don't be afraid of him. If that law existed in the 1820s, that's what would have happened to him. Because he's a false prophet, biblically. So if you claim to believe in the Bible, to the Mormons that are watching, if there are any, because this is a small channel I started 3 days ago or whatever. If you're watching, do you believe in the Bible? Because if you do, Joseph Smith should have been put to death. If the law existed at that point, he should have been put to death. It didn't, but the point is, he was a false prophet, biblically. It's, you don't just get right and wrong and not even have a clue what you're doing, or deliberately lie and people don't know whether or not it's God or Satan or whatever. No, it's, you're a true prophet. You're a true prophet, and if you give one, you fail. You're done. So Joseph Smith, biblically, is done. He's a false prophet. So the Book of Mormon, all that is not real. So what exactly are you going to do with that? Are you going to pretend it doesn't exist? And are you going to go on some weird faith thing, which probably deserves its own video? Or you want to accept Jesus? You want to accept the facts?